Uganda is one of the developing countries in Africa, and as a result, higher levels of poverty are experienced by most of the upcountry population. The country was destabilized by the civil wars that based in the northern and the eastern region, characterized by massive killing and destruction of the innocent people and their property. The Lord's Resistance Army of Joseph Kony took thousands of lives of people, with many others sustaining permanent injuries. Even after resettling, the directly affected groups of people are now seriously suffering and merely continue dying every day. The disabled communities, malnourished children, and the elderly are in critical situation. These are people who can no longer struggle for their lives. The Creation Ambassadors of Uganda, with support from the Kolbe Center for the Study of Creation and other people of good heart, like Dr. Mark from the United States, last year dedicated themselves to support these specialized groups of people with food relief items, especially the people living with disabilities, malnourished children, and the elderly whose lives had been at stake following consequent starvation.
The gifts we have received is a symbolism of love, the love of Jesus Christ to all of us, love of God. So I do ask you, when you receive this love from Dr. Mark, go and experience and also share that love with one another.
And in a special way, we have been able to deliver some relief food items to this parish. Dr. Mark, as a person, has a very good heart for the poor, and he feels he must share with the poor people. It is on that background that he was able to donate for us these food items that we are able to share with you. Whatever you do, the least of my brothers, you do unto me. That is the verse that strengthens him to be able to share these food items.
Creation Ambassadors of Uganda is a group of the missionary Catholic faithful people in Uganda whose mission of encouraging continuous conversion and formation of all people of God to embrace the traditional Catholic doctrine of creation and other teachings of the Catholic Church in order to influence communities with gospel values. Since 2018, this group of Catholic charismatic renewal reality have really brought tears of joy to the people of Teso sub-region and now stretching their hands to the neighboring Karamoja sub-region.
My name is Stephen Ogol. I'm very much happy that today we have been able to come up with some food items that we have given out to the people with disabilities. This idea came some years back, but then initially we have been supporting the elderly and the orphans, the widows. But this time around we got inspired that let's try to get a way of helping people with disabilities due to the conditions that they are going through, especially in this economic crisis. The disabled people are so much affected. They cannot move to look for money. They can't go to look for food. So we thought it is very important that at least we consider giving some food items to people with disabilities. This is aimed at least giving them some beginning as far as the economic situation is concerned.
The worst hunger is in Moroto, Kotido and Kabong districts. Here, 5-year-old child is badly malnourished. In district hospitals, you see the children have no weight. Their lifeline to survival is feeding drip. Prolonged droughts, waves of locusts, African armyworms, and prior armed groups have ravaged these areas, leaving no food for people to eat. Nangolela Puon, a mother of 6, lost her 1-year-old child last year.
And I instructed the grown child to stay with the small ones until I came back. When I came back, I found out that the child was already dead. What could I do?
The 3-year-old child next to her is also malnourished.
The child was not sick. It was purely the hunger that killed him. Even this one is on the brink of death.
The family food mostly come from wild grasses, which merely grow by, but often cause diarrhea. From time to time, the family also get plumpinette, already to be used food for the malnourished. Malnutrition can have devastating impact on a child's early development.
If we don't do something right now, then if they survive by chance, then we don't expect a very good human capital in the future, because these kids will not do well in school. They will be stunted, and the development, brain and everything will be compromised.
The situation is dire, and the families are struggling to get to the grapes with the worst of it all.
In terms of acute malnutrition, in this year we have experienced the worst that we have had in the last 10 years, and we are tracing this back to the issues around climate change. We have also experienced increasing pockets of insecurity as well as common childhood illnesses.
When I say the situation on the ground, people are suffering. People are surely suffering because they have nowhere to go. And I call upon people of goodwill out in the community there, organizations that can be able to support people of this category. They should come up now because the situation is very worse. You have confirmed today, you saw what has been happening. That's what I can say. And I request the government and non-government organizations that can come up to partner to see how we can deliver more food items.
3 years into the crisis, the Ugandan Ministry of Health and the local authorities, supported by UNICEF, are overwhelmed by the mass screenings every day. In this village, the health workers move around, registering malnourished children, who will now be put in special programs to help them. Prolonged droughts are major causes of famine in this area, but this is not limited to the escalating prices of food in the country. The coming of the creation ambassadors in such areas to implement a number of interventions, especially delivering food relief items to the worst experiencing communities, is hoped to put back a smile to the faces of the people in these communities. However, due to limited resources, the creation ambassadors are now looking for the immediate funding from any well-wishers across the world to reinforce their energies to raise a food basket for these weaving communities, as they believe that the lasting solution will be generated in future time.
This program is under the Kolbe Center, but now the Kolbe Center is an organization in the United States of America, but also we are partnered with the Catholic Church because these are Catholics. And for us, we are interested in giving food not only to Catholics, but to all people who are suffering in the community.